Good day everyone, today I am going to discuss about e-security at supply management. Intended learning outcomes. By the end of the learning experience, students must be able to discuss the types of network and website security risks. Describe the vulnerability of internet sites. Explain the protection methods using for network and website security. Discuss the e-business risk management issues. Explain supply chain management. Now let's talk about e-commerce security. These are basic principles which will guide the safe electronic transactions. This is one domain which helps in the secure buying and selling of goods on the internet. And it saves the company's content, documents, software running on the website from hackers and competitors.
The first aspect that we're going to tackle is the network and website security risks. Security on the internet. Internet security is a specific aspect of broader concepts such as cybersecurity and computer security, being focused on the specific threats and vulnerabilities of online access and use of the internet. A patent, in a form of intellectual property, are a set of exclusive rights which are granted by a sovereign state to an inventor or their assignee for the exchange for the public disclosure of an invention. The exclusive right granted to a patentee would be the right to prevent others from making, using, selling, or distributing the patented invention without permission. The copyright laws protect intellectual property and thus cannot be used freely. Data ownership is the possession of and responsibility for information. Ownership means the power as well as control. Control of information will entail the ability to access, package, create, modify, sell or remove data, derive benefit from, and the right to assign the privileges to others. Now let's talk about the client-server security threats. Client-server security ensures that only authorized users can access the information. Such mechanisms include password protection, encrypted smart cards, biometrics and firewalls. The following are the security problems in a client-server environment. 1. Physical security. This is a common problem which is caused by an unauthorized user, say a hacker, who gains physical access to computers by guessing the passwords of the various users. 2. Software security. A software security breach occurs when programs/software are compromised and made to execute operations which they should not legally be doing. Example, the rare login hole in the IBM RS-6000 workstation, which enables a cracker to create a root shell or super user access mode, can be used to delete an entire file system or a password file or create a new account. 3. Inconsistent usage. A security lapse of this nature is caused by the assembling of a combination of hardware and software by a system administrator. Due to the increasing complexity of software, such type of assembling is a growing problem and compromises the security of any system. Threats to clients. Client threats mostly arise from malicious data or code, malicious code being viruses, worms and Trojan horses. The most common threat to clients is the virus. It is a code segment that replicates by attaching copies of itself to existing executable (exe) files. The new copy of the virus is executed whenever a user executes the host program.
Worm. Also a self-replicating program, but it differs from a virus in that it does not require any host program. Examples of worms include BBS/Love Letter and Happy99.
Trojan horse, a program that performs a desired task as well as other unexpected functions. An example is an editing program for a multi-user system that could be modified to randomly delete another user's file. Back orifice, VBS/FreeLink and Backdoor G. Threats to servers. Threats to servers include a. Eavesdropping hackers. They can use electronic eavesdropping to trap usernames and unencrypted passwords sent over a network. Encryption can prevent eavesdropping on data traveling over unsecured networks. B. Denial of services. A denial of service attack is a type of security threat wherein legitimate users are prevented from using a particular service to the deliberate actions of attackers. Examples of such a threat are preventing legitimate traffic on a network by flooding it, preventing access to a service by disrupting a server by sending more requests than the server can handle, preventing a particular individual from accessing a service. Service overloading. It can easily overload a web server by writing a small looping program to send requests continually for a particular file, for example, to display a home page. Message overloading. This happens when someone sends a very large file to a message box every few minutes. The message box rapidly grows in size, soon occupying all the space on the disk. The repeated receiving process on the recipient's machine can cause the disk to crash. C. Packet modification. This is an integrity threat that involves modifying or destroying a message packet. Example: IP spoofing. Internet Protocol is the elementary protocol which sends data over the internet and other computer networks. The header of each packet that is to be transmitted contains the source and destination addresses, called IP addresses. An IP address would look like this: 192.30.233.0. The creation of an IP packet with a copied IP source is called IP address spoofing. In such a case, the intention is to disguise the sender's identity or to impersonate another computing system. It is one among the many common forms of online disguises. How it works is that an attacker spoofs the IP address of a sender's machine and then sends a malicious message. Since this appears to have come from a trusted machine, an attacker thereby gains unauthorized access to a computer or a network. Now let's proceed to the next aspect, which is the vulnerability of internet sites and business policies. The chances of crime over the internet, in cases like buyers and sellers not knowing each other, are increasing. Security features like the authentication, escrow services, and the non-repudiation could protect the company in e-commerce. The e-marketing needs the e-business legal protection for the company marketing through the net. Many obligations could carry criminal penalties pertaining to the firm and its legalities. The firm has to make sure that it has the right internal policies and procedures with the applicable laws of business contract. This also entails in it keeping the right ethical standards in the working environment of the firm. Another aspect is network and website security. The increase of e-commerce fraud can be said to be increasing with the rise of websites. Web jurisdiction brings its substance from conflict of laws, public international law, constitutional law, and powers of the executive and legislative branches of government. Assessments are a process of identifying, quantifying, and prioritizing vulnerabilities in a system. Penetration tests are a method of evaluating computer and network security, simulating attacks on a computer system or network from external and internal threats. Firewall. A firewall is a mechanism to provide limited access to machines either from the outside world to internal internet or from internal world to outside world. There is a trade-off between security and ease of use, as processing time is increased before access to a machine is possible. Vulnerable services. NFS. A user should not be allowed to export certain files to the outside world, and from the outside world also, someone should not be allowed to export our files. Routing-based attacks. Some kind of ICMP message should not be allowed to enter my network. For example, source routing and change route ICMPs. Controlled access to our system's EX, mail server, and web pages should be accessible from outside, but our individual PCs should not be accessible from the outside world. Authentication encryption can be used between hosts on different networks. Enhanced privacy. Some applications which are potentially threatening should be blocked. Ping and SYN attacks. Since these messages are sent very frequently, therefore you won't be able to do anything except reply to these messages. So, it should not be allowed these messages to enter my network. So, whatever is provided for security is called firewall. It is a mechanism and not just a hardware or software. Firewall mechanisms. Some of the mechanisms used for firewall. 1. Network policy. We choose an appropriate network policy for our users. Here, we take into consideration what services are allowed for outside and inside users. Services which are allowed can have additional restrictions. Some exceptional cases might be there which have to be handled separately in different ways. 2. Authentication mechanism. An application can be designed which asks for a strong password for authentication, so that unwarranted access and logins are prevented. 3. Packet filtering. Many commercial routers offer a mechanism that augments normal routing and permits a manager to further control packet processing. The manager might choose to filter, i.e. block, all datagrams that come from a particular source or those used by a particular application. The term packet filter arises because the filtering mechanism does not keep a record of interaction or a history of previous datagrams. If the filter rejects the datagram, the router drops it immediately. For application gateways or proxy servers, these are used at the application level to protect the computers working behind the firewall. Here, when the client, in order to connect with the destination service, is connected with a proxy server which negotiates the packets and information on the destination service provider's behalf. Thereby, two connections are created here, one between the client and the proxy server, and second, between the proxy server and the destination service. The next aspect is the e-business risk management issues. An e-commerce company's contract with its customers, suppliers, competitors, and other directors should be kept confidential unless they have to be disclosed to a known authority. This should be separated from the directors and his decisions of the same. There should also be a service level agreement, which defines the relationship between the provider and the client. This is clearly an extremely important item of documentation for both parties. If used properly, it should identify and define the needs, provide a framework for understanding, simplify complex issues, reduce areas of conflict, encourage dialogue in the event of disputes, eliminate unrealistic expectations. Specifically, it should embrace a wide range of issues. Amongst these are usually the following: services to be delivered, performance and monitoring, tracking and reporting, problem management review, legal compliance and resolution of disputes, customer duties and responsibilities, security, IPR and confidential information, termination policy and approvals, quality control. Email is considered to be a genuine and legal tool of official communication. Here again, it is very important for the firm to consider it as irrelevant as a written document. Each employee, as per policy of the firm, should have his own email account. Also, the account should not be accessible to all but the employee only. It is important as a policy of the firm that any electronic communication do take care to comply to the country's federal and state laws. Also, the email communication should compel to the firm's set policies and procedure too. Document retention is equally important for any business contract. It is also important that the document is retained at the accurate and up-to-date level. Many important objectives are fulfilled by retaining important documentations. Some of them have been given below: the communication of ideas, concepts, requirements, to the employees along with the top managers and junior employees. The document lists the key responsibilities. Proper documentation brings in a consistency and repeatability among the firm's policies and procedures. Documentation is an assurance that our action re our own responsibility in the firm. They give very vital information for the business plans, be it short or long term. They help us see to the right requirements, be that of the customers, regulations, standards, or the legalities of the country. Documentation of procedure can be done after the major function of the firm. This but has some cost attached to it. For example, documenting is a time-consuming procedure. Also, it is a task which has to be done continuously while keeping documents and records. It is also important that a resource of the company be able to maintain consistency, order, security, and availability of vital company documents. Policies play an important role in communicating important information directives with regards to the functioning in the companies. But when it comes to information technology, these policies become slightly problematic, given the case that they become outdated and harder to maintain with rapid changes in the field of information sciences. The Enterprise Security Architecture System, ESAS, was developed by PricewaterhouseCoopers to combat this problem. The ESAS is primarily built upon the People, Policy, and Technology, PPT, methodology. The PPT methodology can be depicted in the form of the Venn diagrams showing the controls as three core elements. The people element deals with defining the roles and responsibilities of the staff in the organization. These define the execution of services by different levels of staff, including management, users, auditors, security administrators, etc. The policy element is concerned with vision statements, policies, standards, and documentation dealing with security-related issues. The technology element deals with the core technologies which are involved for ensuring security and their monitoring, including operating systems, databases, tools, etc. If the issue is broken down into the three core elements, action items can be determined for each core element. In this manner, control coverage can be moved from one element to two, and ultimately to coverage by all of the elements. And here is the Venn diagram as what I have discussed. Now let's go to e-supply chain management. E-supply chain electronic supply chain management, ESCM, is the collaborative use of technology to enhance business-to-business processes and improve speed, agility, real-time control, and customer satisfaction. E-supply chain refers to the business activities that incorporate e-business approaches into supply chain processes. Networked supply chain partners share information, knowledge, and other resources in real time. i.e., information can be transferred directly from any partner of the supply chain to another partner without distortion and delay. Managing e-supply chains as virtual enterprises by applying an e-business approach, at least part of supply chain operations can be implemented through web-based information systems. This implies that the supply chains are at least partly virtual, i.e. not physically, or by common consent, existing. The characteristic virtual creates opportunities to improve flexibility, agility, and efficiency for e-supply chains. Properties of e-supply chain virtuality. The most relevant properties of virtuality to supply chains are virtual environment, virtual aggregation, virtual organization. Virtual environment. Internet has been applied to developing various applications to support e-supply chain management. Web-based applications can be developed as a virtual environment for manufacturing control. It can be used to monitor and control a manufacturing process and provide product design services, etc. Tesco Supermarket Online is a web portal through which customers can order commodities in a catalog and complete transactions online. OneSpace collaboration allows engineers to work interactively in a team to view and modify product design models and drawings. Virtual aggregation and integration. When all supply chain functions are integrated by various e-business applications, the whole supply chain virtually operates as a vertically integrated enterprise. The distributed operational processes in different companies can be aggregated and synchronized based on end customer requirements. Workflows or business processes, BP, are controlled by web-based systems which make the whole process visible to all involved partners. Virtual organization. A supply chain can be formed based on particular customer requirements and may be reconstructed later. Internet technology makes it possible for e-supply chains to be formed dynamically, such as a brand product manufacturer outsourcing components in manufacturing, assembly, packaging and delivery services. Virtuality in the virtual enterprise context emphasizes virtual organizational structures, methodology and tools for e-supply chain management. The Internet technology has fundamentally changed the way in which supply chain partners communicate and coordinate with each other. Internet technology, to some extent, virtually removes the geographical distance and time lags of transactional processes between distributed supply chain partners. Telecommunication networks, electronic data interchange, EDI, particularly the recently dominant Internet technology, enables supply chain partners to exchange data in real time across organizational boundaries. The World Wide Web, WWW, built on Internet provides standard interface between users and the computer networks, and facilitates information transfer by standard markup language, HTML, XML, and graphical user interfaces, GUI. The advance of ICT has not only contributed to improving supply chain performance, but also created new business models and technologies of supply chain management. In this section, the basic information technologies and approaches to applying the technologies to support e-supply chain management will be described. Internet technology applications for supply chain management. Supply chain management has gained significant benefits from increased communication capability, agility, dynamic and real-time information exchange. Internet-based tools have already been intensively explored for information management, supply chain management and virtual enterprise modeling. A key objective is to provide clarity to supply chain partners by the web-enabled legacy systems and to integrate a company's business processes with supply chain processes. Information publishing is one of the basic functions of e-business applications. Internet is applied to supply chain management for providing one-direction information without receiving feedbacks and interactions. This application category is usually aimed at reaching partners to make operational processes transparent and marketing the organization to attract customers. Circuit World Online Services is an online electronic manufacturing guide. Electronic manufacturers register and publish their products with this service. Customers of electronic circuit products can use the web-based service to search for preferred products, manufacturers, and distributors. Information can be accessed by customers and supply chain partners in real time. Interaction support. Information delivered to users through the internet is dynamic, specific, and interactive. This type of two-way communication system was developed for information and knowledge exchanges. Examples of tools for such purposes are email, groupware, video conferencing, forums for information exchange, remote processes control and monitor systems, etc. Through such applications, customers can pursue online services from manufacturers. Online transaction. In this scenario, internet technology is used for interactive implementation of transactions. The applications not only perform information exchanges, but also combine information flows with cash flows and instructions to physical supply chains. Interactive online processes will lead to actual transaction implementation within a supply chain. Dell Computer Corporation's e-commerce is an example of this type of application. Customers can specify their requirements and complete transactions online. The system distributes the orders to relevant regional manufacturing sites for production and delivers final products to customers. Transaction Processing Systems, TPS, is an information system to monitor and control transactions. A transaction is a complete unit of a business process which processes all required changes caused by an event. For instance, a transaction for delivering a customer order will probably include a series of tasks: schedule the delivery and notify the customer, record the order as delivered in the customer order lists, etc. These tasks will be implemented as an atom in a workflow by a transaction system with an integrated enterprise database. Management Information Systems, MIS, is designed for monitoring and analyzing operational data based on performance indicators to provide performance information for organization management. TPS and MIS extract and aggregate transaction data for performance reports. The report shows sales results by company, store, region, time period, product category, and so on, so that business performance can be monitored and problems found and dealt with. Executive Information Systems, EIS. It provides interactive system interfaces to users to produce reports based on users' requirements. CompuWare Optimal View as an e-business portal enables plugin of dynamical MIS output in MS Excel format on the web. For e-supply chain management, such information needs to be presented on web interfaces so that e-business partners and distributed enterprise sites can monitor real-time supply chain performance. Decision Support System, DSS, are interactive information systems that provide information, models, data manipulation tools for decision-making with semi-structured or unstructured information. They include simulation, optimization, multidimensional data analysis, e.g. online analytical processing, OLAP, data mining, expert systems, neural networks, intelligent agents, etc. Data mining tools can be embedded into enterprise portals, which is an integrated website to interact with suppliers or /end customers, to recognize customer behavior patterns and find business opportunities. Enterprise Systems, EPS. EPS is an integrated information system that deals with entire enterprise transaction processes in an integrated database. It transforms data and company-wide business processes into an integrated, consistent information resource. The functions of today's ERP systems are far beyond resource planning capabilities. Current ERP system vendors are integrating planning, transaction management, business performance monitoring, and supply chain integration approaches for e-supply chain management. Technology-enabled approaches and web-based technologies have brought e-supply chain management with benefits mainly in the areas of visibility or transparency, connectivity, or integration, and automation. Such benefits are consequently leading to potential improvement in agility, flexibility, coordination, and optimization. The following approaches facilitated by e-business technologies are beneficial to enterprises. E-procurement is an internet-based purchasing system that offers electronic purchase order processing and enhanced administrative functions to buyers. E-procurement can use either vendors' web-based systems or the public marketplace to complete the transactions. Manufacturing and logistics can be synchronized with the procurement activities when the vendor's system provides transparent information about enterprise manufacturing planning and stock levels. A public website, NC e-procurement at your service, has been created as a statewide marketplace for suppliers and buyers. The website is used to search for vendors registered with the service. Another example is a web portal, Industry to Industry, www.ind2ind.com, developed as an e-marketplace of e-business online trading. E-Supply Chain Portal, a web portal can support collaboration by providing knowledge to collaborators and transaction information to customers and suppliers. In a case of e-Supply Chain Portal application to U.S. Defense Department, the use of portals has integrated diverse sectors and organizations. The portal allows more effective management of the supply chain by providing the necessary tools to everyone involved. Coordinated e-supply chain planning and decision-making, the transparent operational information supported by Internet and enterprise systems underlies various coordination opportunities in e-supply chains. Coordinated supply suppliers can plan their production cooperatively with customers' operational situations, e.g. WIP, sales, product in stock, etc. An effective approach of coordinated supply is vendor-managed inventory, VMI. The VMI approach builds a mutually agreed replenishment model for the supplier. Stocks of the customer are replenished automatically by the supplier when an alert message is received. And that ends our lesson for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned a lot. Bye.